Hello, I'm David DeRoche, professor at Thayer Marshall Institute in Washington, D.C. Question 1. If President Donald Trump decides to launch a new military strike, what form could it take in terms of target, scope, and the strategic messages Washington aims to convey? I think that if Washington does order new strikes, and I think it's more likely they will than that they won't, I think that first off, we'll see an intensification of strikes against targets that are associated, identified ballistic missile storage and production facilities, ballistic missile launchers, naval facilities, which had not previously been targeted in an intensive manner, to include small boats, which could be, there'll be a substantial number of civilian boats since Iran tends to lay mines from boats that are identical to civilian boats or are indeed civilian boats. And there will also be a rush to whatever we've observed Iran rushing to repair will move to the top of the target list on grounds that it'll be important to Iran. There's also been talk of expanding them to dual use civilian capacities such as bridges, railroads, and of course the electricity grid. This is in keeping with what we saw trying to force the capitulation of Serbia to cease the Muslim genocide in 1999, where again that was an air-only campaign, and initially it was very targeted at specific human rights violators in the Serbian National Police. But as time went on, what we saw and what we're learning again is that if you try to force military capitulation just from the air, you have to expand your target set. And after 99 days of bombing, we destroyed every bridge in Belgrade and the electricity grid. So I think that it will be intensified against the previously identified target list. It will include naval targets that have been involved in the attacks on neutral civilian shipping in Omani territorial waters. And I think that it will also involve possibly an expansion of the target set to include electricity grid and the transportation grid. Question 2, how significant is Trump's move to form an international coalition to secure the Strait of Hormuz, and what impact could this have on the balance of power and maritime security in the region? Honestly, I think that internationally, the contribution that international forces will make will not be very significant militarily. I think that their real impact will be politically. It will allow President Trump to point to him as a leader in to the American people. Our customary role is at the head of a coalition, and it will also allow, it'll have a psychological impact on the Iranians of seeing that they don't really have options, particularly with the Europeans, whom the Iranians have viewed them and their role since the Iran nuclear deal in the Obama administration. They viewed the role of the Europeans as being the ones to enforce America to do something. And so seeing them taking some kind of action would have a profound strategic effect. Militarily, they do have naval capacity, which is idle, while American naval capacity is overtaxed. But they don't have a whole lot of anti-missile defenses, and they do have more minesweeping than we have, but minesweeping is very, very tedious, dangerous work, and they may not do it. Quite frankly, I expect America's partners, the Europeans in the lead, with also the Koreans, the Japanese, the Australians, only to participate in military operations once the threat of military action dissipates. Thank you.